So Palantir Stock, ticker symbol PLTR, is having a rough time lately, down 28% in the last 5 trading days as of recording this video. And just look at the disrespect here from Google, calling it a top loser. Guys, I bet shareholders of Palantir don't appreciate that. But in all seriousness, we need to talk about Palantir today because it is a stock that a lot of you are investing in. It's a highly volatile stock, up days that are 10%, down days that are 10%. The stock's been moving massively lately, so we have a lot to discuss. Specifically, first I want to talk about what is causing this massive drop in Palantir stock. We're going to talk about a few key things that came out that have resulted in this drop. Secondly, what to expect in Palantir going into 2021. I'm going to share some insight on that. And then finally, I'll share with you guys if this is a buying opportunity in my opinion. And guys, you know the drill, smash that like button down below. This is a subscriber requested video. And if you haven't done so already, follow me on Instagram, handle in the description down below as well. And I'll be posting some exclusive content on there, stories on there pretty regularly. So you definitely want to be following me on there as well. Getting right into the content, number one, what is causing this huge drop in Palantir? So guys, to put things into proper perspective and not just be narrow-minded here with the stock, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. So the stock went public at the end of September and was relatively quiet for about a month until we approached their earnings. And then ever since around that time period, bam, we've been on a tear, pretty much going 3x in 1 month. And for anyone who caught these gains, who caught that massive run, congratulations. But all I can say is don't get too greedy here. A 3x return in 1 month is unheard of. If you manage to capture that, that's some crazy stuff. You should be proud of that, but don't think that's the norm. That's not how the stock market usually works. You're lucky to see those type of returns over many years typically. So yeah, I would take my profits and run. So yeah, this is not financial advice, of course, but you know what? Listen to that rational part of your brain that's saying 3x return 1 month. Yeah, maybe things aren't really like that sustainable at these levels. Maybe profit taking wouldn't be such a bad idea. And the crazy part is even after this 28% correction, the stock is only at prices that it was about a week ago. So that just shows you how crazy of a run Palantir has been on. Now in general, we gotta set our expectations properly, guys. Stocks move up and down. Right now, Palantir has been pretty much through an up move for the longest time, and there were a few factors that drove this. Their earnings came out, investors were very happy with that. You had big name funds like ARK buying into the stock, and of course you had the general hype of a new IPO. But now the question we're going to answer in this video is what is causing this sell-off, this drop in Palantir here? The most recent piece I could find causing this drop is Morgan Stanley warning on a negative risk-reward profile for Palantir. They say that Palantir is up 155% since its listing with very little change in its fundamental story, so the risk-reward paradigm shifts decidedly negative for the shares. Then they followed up by dropping their rating from overweight to equal weight, essentially downgrading this stock. So okay, we know that analysts have influence on stocks, and when it's a big name like Morgan Stanley, it can result in days like this where the stock drops 13% in a single trading day. And it's pretty clear why they downgraded the stock. They feel that it's moved up too far, too fast, the price is just not sustainable, and it deserves some sort of selling, some profit taking so that valuations can come back down to earth. But guys, this was not the main piece of news that started this sell-off here in Palantir stock. Everything was going really well, the stock kept making new highs, up massively every single day, until a certain research firm came out and just tweeted something that investors, thought twice about. Citron is at it again here, saying that Palantir deserves a $20 price target. Oh man, we haven't talked about Citron in years, but it seems like in the last few weeks, these guys are in the spotlight. They're going after every single stock that investors like yourself are probably investing in. So you're probably not a huge fan of these guys by now, but they have influence in the market. It's crazy to think that just a tweet from them, not even a full research report or anything, resulted in this sort of sharp selling in Palantir. So that just shows you the amount of reach these guys have, and that just shows you that, you should be paying attention to what they say, whether you agree with them or not, because a majority of the market does follow what they say. Now in this tweet they said, what you run the past month for all, referring to Palantir stock. But as traders look for short exposure, Palantir is no longer a stock but a full casino. It does not take a ball of crystal to know this will fall back to ARDA, shorting with a $20 2020 target. So guys, they made quite a few claims here in this short tweet that they released. They first say that Palantir is no longer an investment, it's a casino. You throw your money in there, you're gambling, you may make money, you may lose money. Second, they actually publicly say that they're shorting this stock. So you know what their interest is, you know what their intentions are with this tweet. And then finally they come out with this blockbuster price target of $20 per share, which is significantly lower from where Palantir was about a week ago. What's even more crazy is it's not just $20 per share, is that they expect this to hit by the end of 2020, which means, in just about 3 to 4 weeks, they expect the stock to be around $20 per share. And guess what? They were able to actually help bring this down close to that, sitting at around $20.50 per share with this screenshot, but it nearly hit $21 during the trading day. So, you know what? They pretty much got what they were expecting here. And guys, these were pretty bold claims by Citron at the height here, peak pretty much of what Palantir stock was at. So it's pretty impressive that they were able to really push the stock this much lower and be right on their prediction. It was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think. They set it out there. They're like, we're short. We think it's going to go much lower. Everyone sees it. They're like, oh, they're short. Okay, this is not good. There's negative press around this. I got to sell the stock. And that just kind of resulted in kind of a snowball selling effect. And before you know it, the stock was close to $20 per share. It's pretty crazy to think that from a single tweet, a company like this lost 30% of its value. That should tell you the power of some of these short sellers and some of these names out there in the market that big investors follow. Okay, so we know that firms are now turning bearish on Palantir, but what can we expect with Palantir going into 2021? So if you notice, both of these bearish reports were not really around the company and their operations and what they do. That seems to still be intact and still looking good. It's more around the stock price just going way too far, stretching out way too much from what the valuation should be and what the company actually produces here today. And you know what? For the most part, I kind of agree with them here. I think Palantir is a great company, but the valuation, it just makes no sense. And when you see a stock 3x in 1 month, you know something's up, unless that company was like getting bought out for like a massive premium, or they managed to just 1000x their sales in like a month or something like that. There's definitely a lot of euphoria going on and greed when it comes to those sort of gains. So what this tells me is that Palantir, the business, is still looking strong, still intact, everything's good, and I'm happy with that. But the stock price is just disconnected from reality. It's just doing its own thing. It's just volatile as ever. And this is what investors need to understand. The stock and the business are two separate things. The stock typically is supposed to reflect what the business fundamentals are. Sometimes we get disconnected, sometimes we just run away, both to the upside and downside, but eventually over time, stocks do revert to what their valuation actually represents. Now guys, as you can see here for 2021, the expectations are pretty strong for Palantir. They expect to see big growth of over 30% and over $1.4 billion in revenue, so things are moving in the right direction for this company. So the company is growing, things are looking good, so the stock should be moving higher. Should it be moving as high as it did already? That I'm not really so convinced on. But it should be higher than what it was initially, which I think was, hindsight at least, is pretty fair value for the stock. Palantir's market cap today also sits at $42.2 billion, with the revenue next year expected to be $1.4 billion. So this gives them a price to sales of 30. So a price sales of 30? Okay, let's talk here about if I think this is a buying opportunity in Palantir. Okay, so honestly, like I said, I really like the company. I like what they're doing, and I really like that they have a government focus, which gives me confidence that, through ups and downs in the economy, the government's always going to want their technology, their services, so there's always going to be demand for Palantir. But guys, at the same time, how are you going to come here and tell me that this company, being this small, justifies a price to sales of 30? Even for a company growing 30% year over year, even for a company that's, innovating, disrupting, 30 price to sales, that's high. Keep in mind, Palantir is also a big loser, so they aren't profitable yet either. So to command such a high premium for their price of sales with those metrics is not a very strong argument in my opinion. Now, in terms of their financial position, this is a rock solid balance sheet. 2.6 billion in assets with around 1.8 billion of that in cash, which is a sign of strength, and their liabilities is about half of their total assets at around 1.35 billion. So very, very strong fundamentals, absolutely no question about that. I have no doubts that Palantir is going to be around for a very long time and keep growing for a very long time. Again, that's not really in question here. It's just the valuation. Does the valuation make sense? Is this really a buying opportunity? I don't think so. I think that we're going to see some volatility in the stock. It's going to move higher, it's going to move lower, but over the longer term, I think that we may have peaked out here on Palantir, at least for the time being, until the fundamentals of the company, until that growth rate picks up, until the revenues pick up, until they become profitable, until those things pick up. I don't think that the stock is going to move much, much higher than its peak that it hit just about a week or two ago. Of course, in the short term, we could see, 10% up days, 10% down days, 15% up days, 15% down days. That's what volatility does. And when there's so many investors looking at the stock, buying in, selling out on a constant basis, it's going to move that stock massively. But right now, we're sitting at over a $40 billion market cap, approaching $50 billion. And guys, $50 billion for next year's sales to be around 1.4 billion and growth rate of 30%. Not profitable, I don't know. Even with a good balance sheet, it's hard for me to really convince myself that this is a good value at today's prices and this is a buying opportunity at today's prices. So here's my stance. While I like the company and the outlook, I don't think Palantir is really a buy at today's prices. But if you disagree with me, I'm open to a discussion. I read every single comment in the comment section and I try to reply to most of them as well. So leave your thoughts. Give me your justification, your reason as to why you believe Palantir may be undervalued here at these prices and why you see much more upside in the stock. I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, Palantir $100 per share by next year, stuff like that. Give me a reason why. I'm open to hearing it. I want to hear different sides of the argument. And who knows, maybe you guys can convince me that this is the next multi-bagger stock that I should be buying as well. And also guys, like I said, if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, do so. Link in the description down below. We're trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year, and I will be posting exclusive content on there, so hey, it's free, why not, right? Anyways, thank you for watching guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.